Hey everybody, Brad Linder coming at you again with the Submariner. I'm going to move some adjustments here so we can get a little more light in on this. Just a little bit. There we go. Cool. Now as the camera adjusts here, um, I will get in a little bit more. I'm going to move this up just a little bit. So bear with me just a second. Now I'm going to share this over with the page and channel, and we will be able to knock this bad boy out and have a little fun and get this going. So refresh and share over with the channel so everybody can see it. And it's going to be the third part to the Invaders original setup. Uh, I didn't know if I was going to get this done, to be honest with you, because I had a hang up about it. Hey, Jim. I had a hang up about it with the layout for the Submariner in comparison to Cap and the original Human Torch, which is right under here. I've got this paper blocking it so I don't smudge because I'm a southpaw and I want to get this going. But anyway, I'm going to get right in here, and I'm going to start with this chest muscle, this pack as it goes, and yeah. It's the weekend, folks. I'm having a good time. Yes, I am sober, so thank you for asking. But I've been asked to joke around a little more like I do in my private conversations. So I thought, hey, cool. That's, be a little more revealing, show a little more me, personality-wise. But anyway, yeah, I'm just kind of hanging out, and I'm going to knock this out with my animated style, but I'm still doing the classic Namer or Submariner. And it's got a little bit of a classic look to it. But like I said, I didn't want to do Spock, in a Speedo type situation. I wanted to do something a little more modern and contemporary, and I wanted to keep the classic look without having to worry about the other attributes coming in and taking over. And as I got into this, I finally got this layout, and then I knocked this out, and I was like, you know what? I would love to draw this book. I really would. So I very seriously doubt that Marvel would ever take me on for it, but I would really dig drawing the Submariner book because I got into this wanting to make this image as part of the original trio. But I tell you, as I got going along, this design came out really well in my style, and I'm happy with it. One of my friends said it has kind of an Eric Larson or Art Thibert type of flair to it, and I was like, yeah, they're influences of mine. I can see that coming out. But for the most part, I keep it pretty simple and keep it fairly clean here. When I get into ink this, it'll be a lot cleaner because I want to get this anatomy properly placed rather than just go in and hack it up or give it abstract lines. So, I mean, if it looks a little rougher than usual, that's because I am making it that way because I want to make his anatomy look organic rather than just going in and hacking him up and drawing, blocky cartoon lines. And that's okay because this is more of what I do in the comic book style that I use. So it's a little more relaxed, a little more sketchy. And I like using it this way because of the fact that it gives me a little more pull and a little more control over the lines in the long haul because of the fact of the way that I'm drawing this. So drawing the nurples. Yes, the Submariner, he has nurples. Sorry, kids. It's part of it, But anyway, moving right along in this, we have a really cool look. He's got almost as dynamic a flair as Cap, and he's probably going to look a little more organic because, like I said, one, he's not wearing any clothes except for the Speedo, which you actually can't see through under his ribcage here and the start of his abdomen because it's tucked back, it's straight down. And I like to look at anatomy in an organic form. So I try to give everything a slight curve, a more natural curve when the uniform or the clothing isn't in the way, as it is in most cases, like it is with Cap in Full Swing, or in some of the other characters that I've drawn. And I really, really love to do case studies on characters like this, because that's the reason I used to draw Hercules when I was a kid. I would draw Hercules and Conan all day long because of the fact that they hardly wore anything and I could get the anatomy down. And who better to learn from than, John Buscema and a couple of the others that are in there drawing that stuff. One of my favorite costume characters to draw was Daredevil, because I got to see Gene Colan draw him over the years, and I tell you, that's one of my favorite, that's one of my absolute favorite forms of Daredevil, is watching Gene Colan get in there. John Romita Sr. did a great job with him as well, but which is one of my favorite runs also, so don't get me wrong there. But what I'm saying is that you have certain artists come in and just draw anatomy beautifully. You know what I mean? And they really do. They make this stuff just pop off the page. And that's something I strive for in my artwork. Just like I strive to be the best at my marketing, I strive very hard for my artwork, because of the fact that it's been the longest passion that I've had. And I'm always looking for new ways to draw this stuff. And watching, Gene Colan draw stuff on some of the newer videos that he's done, that he's released, home movies of him drawing and things like that. And then you have really, really cool documentary stuff that's been coming out lately, where people have filmed him and talked to him and stuff. And a lot of these classic artists are coming out that way as well. And it's just intense the way that they're coming out. And, a lot of the old guard that you don't get to see anymore, that you probably haven't seen since the 1990s at the very latest. So, I really, really dig this stuff, and I get to check out those old guys all the time and go in and read their stuff and watch what they're doing. And if I can find documentaries or, like I said, home footage or con footage or whatever where they've drawn, I'm all over it, man, all over it. Because I'm an old school type of guy, to where I love to learn stuff from the horse's mouth a lot better than trying to emulate it from someone that's been taught by someone that's been taught by someone. Because to me, that's like I would rather have someone teach me directly. And that's part of why I'm so into marketing, because of the fact that I can do that, and art as well with my students, because I love being hands-on. Because it's like the difference between getting a copy of a copy of a copy and then having an original. The grade of the art or the grade of the material is just going to be that much better and that much more intense, because of the quality that you're getting on that direct curve, which is what makes the internet so fascinating, with the way that everybody gets involved with it in the first place. Because, not just, in any art form or business form. And that's what makes this stuff so cool, when people try to make money online, whether it's being an artist, being a marketer, being a teacher, a coach, an artist, a writer, whatever your passion is, an actor, whatever that passion is. I always find it very interesting to see how that plays out, because there are so many variables that have to be in place for this to come to fruition. But the number one thing is you just have to get in there and do it, and you have to do it firsthand. You know what I mean? I see that so often, that people just don't get into it and do the work. And again, it comes full circle back to the fact that I want to learn from, the horse's mouth, so to speak, firsthand, of someone that can do what I want to do and emulate that. Because going after, 20 past different coaches, or, generational gaps, or whatever it is, there's so many people that haven't done it yet. And that's in getting in there, making comic books, getting in there, making the artwork, getting in there, putting in the work for the anatomy, and, getting in there for the work of getting the material up for their content, or whatever the case may be. You got to get in there and get it done, because if you're not digging it in yourself, then you're not the one doing it, and you shouldn't be teaching it in any form or fashion. And I see a lot of these guys go in and say, well, I'm a comic book artist and you should listen to me because I've had a Marvel contract. Whoop-de freaking do. You had a Marvel contract. So what? That's just like saying you acted in a Double Mint commercial as an actor. I mean, there's so many titles out there and there's so many things to do. Yes, they're the top box office pull right now, but the thing is, it's not about the movies and stuff that Disney manifested out of it. It's about getting out there and getting your contract and making a brand for yourself with your artwork. I see so many people go, well, I got to do one issue of this book, and it's just like, so what? Well, I've done 20 issues of books you've never heard of, but the thing is I've done more books than you have. I have far more experience hands-on than you do. But it just depends, It's so weird to see that go down in that manner, and people think because they got one shot at Spider-Man or one shot at Batman and got a stray off issue, they think they're now, the same rank as, Gil Kane or, Neil Adams, pretty much whoever, you're thinking of. It's just crazy how they do that. So get in there and get the experience and get hands-on and do the stuff, I see that all the time of people saying, well, I did this book, I've done 20 independent books, and they're way better artists or creators, writers, creators, artists, pencilers, inkers, whatever they do, and they don't get half the recognition because they didn't do one issue of, a mainstream title, which is not a big deal when you think about it. I mean, everybody's got comics. Comics are just the same. They've just been around longer, and they're more popular, and they're better because they're better placed, and they've got more money to throw out there for more and more exposure is what it is. I mean, I'm sorry, but, everybody knows Stan Lee, not because he created Spider-Man, but because he's been around for 60 years in the industry. Now, granted, he did create some great comic books, don't get me wrong, but if he hadn't worked in the industry, nobody would have known him. They knew him because he worked in the industry for so long and made himself a name and created those properties to back up his legacy. I see so many people coming in with one comic book and they think that they're the same thing. I've seen these one-hit wonders. It's like on the radio, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's like one-hit wonders on the radio. They're like, wow, I'm a record holder and blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, the best artists that stick around are the ones that keep making music because they know that if they don't stay on the top 10 or top 100 at best, they're going to be in trouble. And that's what I'm more about. I would rather be on the radar of the top 100 or 500 or top 1,000 and be out there making the work every day than not making the work at all or making the work once and being a one-hit wonder and then be doing cover songs the rest of my life or, cover art, that kind of thing, and covering other people's stuff, and I mean, like I'm doing with the sketchbook right now, I'm basically doing cover work to cover everybody else's stuff while I'm building up my own because this is what's popular right now. But the sketchbook project's going to move that forward, so I don't have to worry about that. And then my own comic books are out there too, so I don't have to worry about this stuff. I don't have to do this. I do it because I want to, not because I have to. So there's an understanding there as to what's going on. But anyway, I just wanted to state that and put it out there because I hear these big name artists that have been around for a while and come out and they're like, hey man, somebody's hating on me today, blah blah blah, and I'm not going to name any names because they know who they are, and if you've got to play off of a negativity to make yourself popular for the day to maintain, you go right ahead and do that if that's your thing. But I don't see the point in having forums and followers at 1,000 or 2,000 followers following you around, and you have a list of your namesake, and you're never teaching them anything. You're always griping about how you got played by the man, or somebody stole your stuff, or somebody said how bad you are, and you got to go off and pet your ego and have your followers pet your ego instead of learning something and growing in the market with them. I see that kind of crap all the time, and it really, really upsets me. But like I said, I'm not going to call anybody out because they know who they are. If they're watching this, I guarantee you they're going to figure it out. But I'm not that way. I don't care. You know, if you want to follow me because you like my art and you love my stuff and you want to associate with me, more power to you. I absolutely love that. Thank you very much for all that support. But like I said, there are people that do this just for the purpose of building it up and just for the purpose of stroking their ego because they're so self-absorbed. And that's not my thing at all. I have no intention or qualm of addressing that and saying, you know, hey, I've got an ego issue, because I don't care. You like me and hang out with me, and that's cool. And if my message resonates, cool deal. I'm so glad I got you. But if it doesn't, I understand that too, and I respect that, and that's okay too. But I would so rather have you be here because you want to be, not because you feel obligated or brainwashed to follow me to feed my ego. That's ridiculous. And so many people are doing that these days, and it's just so bad. So bad. So stop it. Stop that. I'll tell you like I used to tell my daughter when she was 3, stop it. I'm going to check out what's going on with everybody. I'm going to read some of these comments so we can check it out, because I don't want to miss anybody or feel that I'm just rambling on here, because I'm not. Brandon, let's see. Jay Brooks, I haven't seen you on in a while, buddy. Phil, you made it. Cool deal, man. Thank you very much. Jamie, nice to see you. Just giving a couple of shout outs to everybody, and I'm going to read comments. Raymond mentioned the classic Rex from John Byrne. One of my absolute favorite books, man. I have pretty much everything in that series that you can think of, and I read it regularly because of that fact. I love that series. You know, you do have to be persistent and love it, because this is a very, especially artwork, you know, it's just like any other form of entertainment. It's one of those things that'll wring you dry, and it'll zap the family. It'll damage pretty much everything that you hold dear to your life. It'll suck it right out. And the problem with that is because of the fact that, you know, you have to put so much time and energy and focus into your craft and make it work. And if you don't, you'll pay for it dearly, 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 dearly. And I'm wanting to feather and crosshatch this to death, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm just gonna go in and detail this hair here because he is dark-headed, and then we're gonna go from there. But as of the moment, I'm just gonna kind of leave this open. But as of the moment, though, I wanted to stop and, like I said, acknowledge everybody and say thank you for being on, especially so late, and spending your weekend with me, because that's a very impressive thing. I would have been on with this a day and a half ago, but when I started it, I had to go off and keep the show going, and also take care of that personal issue, because our house air conditioning went out and we had to have that replaced, and we got that squared away and taken care of, so everybody's nice and cool. And then we've got a freeze coming tonight, so we're not even going to have to run it, so that's crazy. But better to be prepared than not. So we got that going on. I'm going to kind of detail out these knuckles a little bit and bring some more detail into them, because they're in the foreground, as you can see. But now I'm going to move this off so we can see the whole shot here. Yeah, I totally agree, man. Raymond's talking about the Marvel artist comment. You know, you got these artists coming out. He says, you got these artists coming out, barely can get work and get books canceled. That's absolutely true, man. They come in at the worst possible time and try to get on and make their shot, and then they either make the book suffer or they bail and jump ship on the book overall, and we end up losing it. So, I know this one was quick. I'm going to give this about another 10 minutes or so, and I'm going to kind of flesh this out a little bit. And I think I'm going to start over here on the Submariner, and I'm going to kind of ink him in a little bit and get some of this fleshed out so we can move into the next phase. But Yeah, man. I mean, I see that all the time. And like I said, I'm not trying to get on a bandwagon of griping or anything like that, because that's not what I'm saying. You know, that it's the man or it's the system or blah, blah, blah. I'm not trying to do that. What I'm addressing is these people coming out saying, they got one book, they got lucky enough to get to go to cons enough and hound the editors or hound the creators enough that they got a job, and then they're going to milk it and get that one issue, and then they're going to jump ship, and then they start treating everybody else that they've known for years like crap because they got one political move. And it is all about politics. I mean, it's sad. It is all about politics. You can't show your portfolio to an editor because they will throw it away. They don't even look at it. You have to know who's the right person to send it to and who the right person is to get it in front of once it's there. And you really have to know them, because if they don't know you, you don't have an in. And it's all about that. I mean, you can't apply for that like any other job where they have to look at your stuff and they have to do first come, first serve for the best qualified. They don't have to do that. They can go in and rip it off 10 ways from Sunday. They can go in and take your story. They can go in and take your character. They can go in and file 13 it, which is an old term for the trash can if you don't know what that is. So, they can do any number of horrible, horrible things. And I'm not saying that people are naturally, instinctually bad. I'm just saying that that's the habit of the market. That is the common ground of the marketplace. They go in and they throw stuff away. They don't even look at it because there's so much talent in the way. They have processes now to eliminate that, and they don't want to read your stuff. They really don't, because they don't want to see another artist that they have to work with and will squeeze into their schedule for their already busy day. But yet, comics also has the least effective process for handling such stuff. I mean, that's horrible. So, they go in and they say, well, we've got this submission department. And, there's been many editor over the years that have said flat out, the Marvel submission editor doesn't ever hire anyone. It's basically a fluke thing to keep artists from hounding the regular editors from the book so they can get their stuff done. That's what it was created as. It was a marketing tactic to keep people thinking they had a chance to be more of an influence and keep sending content and keep it going that way, and keep, artists or fan artists from hating them, because there was no chance that they could actually get in the artwork business with Marvel. I mean, that's the sole solid truth. DC doesn't even read their stuff. When they had an open forum, DC would get stuff from a long time back, and they would say, well, we've closed our submissions office temporarily, because what they would do was they were getting so many complaints from the building, because what they were doing was they were taking them down into the main furnace and using them to heat the building. So think about that one. They didn't even open them. They just took them down by the cartloads, and would throw thousands and thousands of submissions away into the incinerator, and just boom, gone, because they weren't allowed to open them legally, because they didn't have a process for it, and they couldn't be responsible for someone coming across a similar idea to what they already had in place. And I mean, not everybody talks about that, but it's true. It's true, 100%. They do that all the time. And I don't think they do that these days, because they'll just hit return to sender because it's cheaper. They have someone in their mailroom that just says return to sender, and they'll send it back to you because it's unsolicited, and they don't want it in-house, so they won't even read it. They'll just throw it out, or have someone stamp it with return to sender and send it back to you. So they don't even keep a submissions office open anymore, I don't believe. But they use the DC talent search now, and they have since, I think, 2005 or 2006. So I mean, that's a lost cause. That's why I don't submit to them at all, to any of the major publishers anymore, because of the fact that they don't really read this stuff. And I mean, you can send them a letter and say, if you read this, please reply at, and it'll never be opened. I've done that a couple of times with submissions, and they never get opened. They never even get opened. So, and it's a special link for them. They would be the only one to open it, and it never goes through. So it's all politics. I mean, it's all in who you know and what you get going. And I'm fine with that, I would love to do a Marvel or DC book. I've talked about that numerous times, but I just don't see that happening with the current standard of the market because of the fact it's isolated to politics and who you know. So when someone says, I draw from Marvel, 9 times out of 10, that person is either A, grandfathered in from the 90s where they've actually worked through and got the grunt work done and worked through it, or they came across a really good agent that got them in, or the third one, which is the most common, they got selected during, drink and draw or a drawing contest or whatever at a convention. They got noticed by whoever was there, whatever executive was there, editor, staff, whatever. Just think about that. That's horrible. That's horrible. And if you look at the modern Marvel comics, they're really rough, man. And I mean, so many titles are drawn quickly and cheaply and digitally and knocked off. And I hate that. And like I said, I'm not on the soapbox here. I'm just saying in general that, because I'm not normally a negative person about this kind of stuff at all, because I don't like to. But the industry needs to note that, there's so many artists and there are so many books. Okay? Don't try to get into Marvel or DC. Go off and do your own thing and build your own legacy and build your own line and go from there. Because whenever I draw these things, I do it for a purpose. I'm doing this to have fun. I'm doing this to share with you guys. I'm doing this to make content. And it's content you guys recognize and can enjoy. But am I going to make a living off of it? No, because it's not my content. So it's not my original content, and it's not my book. So not my book, not my character. So the best I can ever do is a fan sketch. I mean, I can do commissions, I guess, but again, that's drawing someone else's characters, and that's not really where the passion is for an artist like me. So, but hang in and see where the industry takes it and go from there. But for me, it's all about hanging out with you guys and getting to draw this cool stuff that you like to see. Because I'm a huge fan of these characters too, and that won't change. I mean, that literally won't change. I thought Black Panther was going to change my mind about stuff too, because they made it, political in the time of Black Lives Matter and whatnot, instead of making it relevant to that. The press tried to make it to where it was going to be black on black violence and all these other horrible things, and it turned out to be a great movie. One, it's a really, really good Marvel movie. Two is the fact that it really was a black hero coming out and making a black president for a new standard of doing things in social graces, and I really, really appreciate that standard. So, I dig it, but I dig it for personal reasons that I won't go into. But anyway, it's really cool to see that happen. Really cool to see that happen. But I like to see how all this plays out, and how the industry is growing and evolving in its current form, and hopefully it won't die off. I've got digital comics coming out, print-on-demand comics as well, coming out in May. Finally, it took forever, but when this sketchbook's finished up, we will make the first move in that direction, and we're gonna have some cool stuff coming out. Night of the Living Dead and all that good stuff, and Catman Evolution. There's Lone Rider, Frontier Galaxy. There's Firestorm, the Firestorm Universe Origins coming out, fully colored, and all that good stuff. So we got everything going on. It's going to be awesome. But anyway, I'm going to keep going on this. I'm going to finish this up off camera. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I will see you tomorrow, probably with a coloring session of one of these two guys so that we can move this forward and finish it up. Since I started the week with this, I want to finish the week with this and make sure this gets done. And I'll let you guys take a vote on it if you want it to be a collage like this with, the random pieces, a sticker sheet type of deal, or if we want to go full on with me drawing the background in and showing you guys the finished piece after that offline when we get back into some new cards and stuff so we can move on. But I'll finish this up that way, and we'll go from there. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me as always. I'm going to get off here and go get some rest because I'm going to get up very, very early and start this all over again. And until then, we have this planet for a little bit of party time. And be sure and leave it stocked up and ready to go for the next generation. I'm Brad Linder. This is Brad Linder creating comics and the Daily Card Show. So I will see you guys tomorrow.